we would like to introduce to you Ms. Britney Texeira, a fabulous laymaker from Haku, Maui.
And here she is, Brittany. So fantastic to see you in person. I didn't know that you were going to be there in person, so I'm just thrilled to see you.
I know, me too.
Brittany, I had a peek at your workshop when we were in Hilo in October, and I never got to see the whole thing, so I am just thrilled that I get to see this excerpt from the program. So I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit what lei making means to a Hawaiian to get things started.
Yes, absolutely. So lei comes from who we are in Hawaiian culture. It's a part of us, and it has always been. And it's a way that we show love and show affection and appreciation. And we also honor kinolau. It goes further beyond the beautiful flowers that we see. So we like to talk about how deep it goes and how we can support our local growers in that sense as well.
That's awesome. So shall we watch your video and see what you did during that workshop?
Yes, please. I'm excited to see it too.
We have a presenter and a workshop presenter here.
Yeah.
And
we have Britney Texeira from Maui.
yay!
Come on stage.
And I gotta say, she comes highly recommended by me, and I think, and by Lois, and actually Debbie. We took a class with her, did this exactly what you're doing here today with her, and we just loved it so much. Like, she is just such an amazing woman. She's gonna really impart the spirit of Hawaii to everyone, especially those of you who not familiar with the taku-lei, all of that beautiful lei making work. But you know, what was really interesting when we were there is it was my first time making lei, and she told us to relax and, you know, kind of get filled with joy. Relax. I won't. But I had the hardest time because I was just so cramped by holding on so tight, and she keeps saying, "Relax." But it was just such a wonderful experience because, and that's what she's going to share with you. And I'm just thrilled that you're here.
Thank you.
I think you're going to love this so very much. So, without further ado, we're just going to get you started.
Yes.
Yeah. And by the way, she is Haku Maui.
Haku Maui.
Yes.
Mahalo. Mwah.
Excellent.
Thank you. Mwah. Okay. Get up on the stage. All right. Aloha, everyone. Yes. Thank you so much for having me and for being here today. I do want to give a huge shout out to Allison with Grace Hawaii Flowers, our procurement manager. She made it happen with the flowers. So mahalo. Yes. We're not late without this. So thank you. So my name is Brittany. I have my partner here, Selena Bailey, and we are Haku Maui. We specialize in traditional Hawaiian lei and workshops just like this. When you support us and our business, along with a lot of businesses here in Hawaii, you really support our whole family. So it's always nice to think about that and really put that first with what we do. So we know that lei and flower crowns are a thing, right? People make them and wear them and don't really know where lei comes from or why it's so important to us in Hawaiian culture. When you wear a lei around your neck, it resembles the way a child would embrace their mother. And that's how much love goes into this. Lei for us can be seen as a sign of life, almost like an umbilical cord. It's an extension from one's self or place to the next person. So the next time you wear a lei or receive a lei, just take that moment into consideration. When you do make lei, your intention is very important. So we'll go through everything today, but what comes first is your ano and who you are as a person. Everything you do with lei shines through. we know that lei, with wedding celebrations, kind of taking it back to what we're doing here today, is a big deal, right? Every time we have a celebration, we have a reunion or things joining together, we want to celebrate with lei. And as we explain, it's a part of who we are. It's a way we show love and embrace and talk about the land and places that we're from and kind of connect it all together. So when you're making lei, you can kind of think about that when you're working with your brides or with your wedding parties or any type of celebration. It's nice to kind of voila out with them and see what they're going through in their life, where they're from, and how we can connect these flowers to a time and place. So it's very important to kind of take that back. Sometimes lei can be very simple. It can be, here we have our lokelani, which is the flower and color of Maui. We come from Maui, and it's a way to represent who we are. So this is a little bit more of a simple style of kui lei. So kui means to thread or to pierce. But we also have something a little bit more intricate. This is ohaiali'i and can be made with thousands of flowers, okay? So if any of you went on the tour yesterday to the nursery farms, they kind of talked about how long it takes to grow a flower. And we want people to understand that, right? So if you look at a lei, it could take years to have that one lei be ready to go with the flowers, okay? So just remember that when you're picking out your flowers, and also explaining to your customers, I feel like would be beneficial. The more we all know, right, the better. And then we also have this here, which is crown flower petals, or pua kalaunu. This was Queen Liliuokalani's favorite flower, and the monarch's as well. So this here also has hundreds of petals in it. So you can kind of see the intricacy. And then also the fragrant flowers. So this here is only in season during this time, and it's sort of going out of season, but we have pakalana. So anytime you see our favorite fragrant flowers like pikake, pakalana, it's just for the time. It's usually the hot summer months. We're so lucky to be here in Hilo. Maile, as you know, grows abundant here in the mountains, and we really want to kind of share the message about how much we cherish this lei here. I think sometimes it's our first go-to. We want to represent with maile. We love this, but the more we use it, sometimes it can be harder and harder to gather. So there are other options that we can use, like tea leaf to make maile and things like that, lauae, palapalai. So if you have any questions along the way, please ask me. I'm full of information, and I'm happy to help you, okay? All right, so we'll just get into it. We have an abundance of flowers in front of you, a lot of them from different farms here on Hawaii Island, some things we've gathered ourselves. One thing I want to talk about gathering is a certain protocol that we kind of go by. If you are ever going out to gather, you want to ask permission. If there's no one there, it doesn't mean you don't need to ask. But it's nice to kind of say something, because as we work with lei, we're working with the land and with these flowers as well. So everything that's meant to be will be. Okay? So one of the things too with our foliage, for the fern, we have palapalai fern, which is a native Hawaiian plant. And then in front of that, we have tea leaf, strips of tea leaf. So tea leaf is a plant of protection in Hawaiian culture. We plant this outside of our homes, outside of our bedroom windows. We wrap our food in this. And in placing this in your lei, it's a protector for yourself as well. So I like to use lots of tea leaf, okay? And then for our base of our lei, which we'll be passing out after, we use banana leaf. So we grow and gather this ourselves. We pick this, prep it down to size for you. I don't know if you've been in Banana Patch before, but centipedes, cane spiders. Okay, so appreciate this. Thank you. We work very hard to get this ready for you, okay? On the end of your base, we have our twine. This is what we're going to use to tie the lei on at the end. So make sure that it doesn't become lost in the lei, okay? Make sure that these ends stay out. This type of lei can be worn on your head as lei po'o, or short around your neck as lei a'i. So you have two different options today, okay? So the style of lei making that we're doing today is called lei wili. And wili means to wrap. So we're going to be wrapping each piece of flower and foliage onto the base using the raffia here. I want you to use my lei as a guide. I'd like for you to use lots of greenery, lots of foliage, and flowers in between, okay? The more foliage, the better, in my opinion. The longer the lei will last, and the more your flowers are protected. A really good lei po'o can last almost 2 weeks, too, so sometimes I wear it, and then it lives on your hat after that, okay? So you have options. All right, so the first thing I do is I start with 5 pieces of tea leaf. When you look at the tea leaf, there is a shiny side and a dull side, okay? So in the beginning, it's hard to catch, but as you keep going, it gets easier and easier. So the first thing I do is pinch it in half vertically with the shiny side on the outside. So just fold it straight in half vertically. Place your first piece on your base, straight up and down. Pinch it with your thumb, and then use the raffia to wrap, okay? So we're going left, over to right, and back under, okay? One time, nice and tight. If you can go back and pull things out, it is too loose, okay? Your leg gonna fall apart. And I don't wanna see nothing on the floor, okay? So next to that, we have one more piece, shiny side on the outside, pinch it in half vertically, place it on your base, and now we're gonna start to angle it slightly. So we kind of wanna fan it out, okay, to create the tone for the width of your lei. Pinch it with your thumb, and then wili again, okay? Left over to right, and back under. Now with the third piece, we're going to start to alternate sides to angle to work our way down. I like this side to mirror this side. To me, it looks nice and uniform, okay? So grab your third piece, place it on your base, and now we're just going to flip it over the opposite way, okay? So sort of start to fan it out as you work your way down. Pinch it with your thumb, and then wili again. Nice and tight, okay? So, have any of you made this type of lei before? Yes, yeah, okay. No, we got plenty of no's over here. Okay, so if this is your first lei, they tend to be large, okay? So just keep this in mind. If you pinch your tea leaf all the way on the bottom and place it in your lei, it will be much, much bigger in size, okay? If you pinch your tea leaf further up and place it in your lei, it will be more small and petite. So up to you, okay? I always go somewhere in the middle is fine. And then alternate sides, angling even more. So what you're trying to do is create a little bed or a little pocket for your first row of flowers to sit in, okay? And then one more piece, angle the opposite way. Okay, everybody kind of got that, yeah? All right, so from here you can go straight to flowers, or you can use the fern as an accent. I highly recommend using this fern, okay? I want you to know that this is one of our most cherished ferns for lei making and in Hawaiian culture, so we're so fortunate to have this here, okay? So sometimes you might pick a piece like this and decide, okay, that's kind of way too big, yeah, for what we're going for, so please make it smaller, okay? So you can either pluck off pieces from the bottom to use in your lei, and sort of size it out. Or you can grab the piece and fold it in half. So create sort of a loop, pinch it together, and place it in your lei like that, okay? And then wili over the stem. So from here, we're ready for our first flower. Hey! Woo! Everybody up? Okay. All right, so when you're ready, you're going to grab your flower, place it on the base, so all of your stems will point down all the way down throughout your lei, okay? Pinch it with your thumb and then wili over the stem, okay? Now, with these larger flowers, like the ginger, the cymbidiums, anthuriums in front of you, try not to angle them, okay? Because if you do angle these flowers, when you put your lei on, the flower gonna be in front of your face, you get unicorn, okay, so we don't want that. Nice and tight, wrap it straight, and wrap it twice, okay? So each row of flowers will have 1, 2, or 3 flowers, okay? No more than that. Otherwise, you're kind of making your way this way, and you're not making your way down, okay? So we have our first row of flowers here. We're gonna go back to the tea leaf, alternating sides, work your way down, create another little bed for your next set of flowers, okay? So we usually use about 6 pieces of tea leaf, and then back to the fern, and then back to the flowers, okay? Does anyone have any questions so far? No? Okay, great. Yes?
So when you did the flower, you wrapped really twice.
Yes, yeah.
But the leaf once.
Once. So just because this flower is a little bit bigger, you really twice just to make sure it's really tight in there. The smaller flowers like the orchids or bougainvillea, straw flower, you can just really one time. Yeah. Some people ask, can I use 3 flowers, put it on here and really one time? No. Okay. So my answer is no. You want to take your time with it. And the reason is if one of those flowers breaks in that group of 3, it will fall out and then there's a hole. The other 2 will fall out and it will just spiral throughout your lei. You really kind of want to take your time. When you look at the back of your lei, you want to see that each piece of raffia is sort of touching each other, no large gaps, okay? In Hawaiian culture with lei, the back is just as important as the front. When people come to Haku Maui and they're ma'a with lei, the first thing they do is look at the back. So for me, I want to be like, go ahead, look at the back, okay? All right. So some people like to plan out their lei and some people like to just go for it. I highly recommend planning it out, okay? So for a few reasons. Say everyone on the table like the same exact flower, then you probably will run out of that, okay? Or say, I only want to use purple, ponies, my favorite color. Boom, you get halfway, you run out of purple. Okay, so the best thing to do is as your base is laying there, you can drop a few flowers alongside so you have a general idea. For this size lei, you probably use between 20 to 30 flowers or more if you want. Okay, and the foliage is easiest with just a large handful next to you. So before we get started, I know we talked a little bit about lei in Hawaiian culture, okay, and what it means, but I cannot stress this enough. It is so important for you to take a second and think about you. Think about what you're going through in your life and visualize yourself in the most beautiful light. And as you weave your lei, all of who you are, your ano, becomes a part of your lei. I can almost see you in it, okay? When you wear this lei on your head or your po'o is your highest connection to the heavens and to your past ancestry as well. So when you place this lei on today, you're not only honoring yourself, but all of those who came before you, okay? Please keep that in mind with lei. Ever moving on, anytime you think of lei, I want you to think of that, okay? So if I'm walking around and I hear you go, oh, this is hard. Oh, mine's ugly. Okay, then this going to be hard and your lei going to be ugly, okay? If I hear any negativity, I will kindly pull you to the side, okay? All right. I do also want to introduce, we have Ikaika Texeira and David Bailey here who will be blessing you with mele. These are our husbands, came all the way from Maui. In this time, if you wanted to plan out your lei, you can go ahead and pick out your flowers that you want. Everybody be nice, okay? We also have some extra so we can bring them around. And please ask us anything. No question is wrong. We'll pass out the bases. And when you have to add your first raffia, let us know, okay?
Shine on, flower people. hula dancer. Kale kaumaka o ka ua noe anu hea.
Everybody is doing so good. I'm completely blown away and impressed by the level of skill and time and talent that everyone has here. So you make this just as much special for me as it is for you. So mahalo. So all of these flowers, if you're traveling out of Hawaii, these flowers can travel through TSA. I don't know about out of US, but to the direct mainland, it will be fine. So for your lei, you never want to throw it away, okay? You have a few options. You can either hang it in your home to dry or preserve. We have a curtain rod where we keep all of our lei, and you can look back and remember your wedding day, the day we opened Haku Maui, all of these moments in our life. Or you can pass it on to the next person. You never know how much light you can bring someone by doing this very simple gesture. Or you can return it to the land and mahalo what your experience was. And in this way, because we use these natural materials, you're not leaving any type of rubbish behind. So for these lei, they're the freshest for the first 2 to 3 days, in my opinion. You can wrap it in a damp paper towel and place it in a full-size fridge. No mini fridge, okay? If you're staying here at the hotel, do not put it in there. It will freeze and turn black. So crank the AC up, wrap it in the paper towel, the damp paper towel, and make sure the air is hitting it, and it will be its freshest. That's actually what we had to do for our lei, and it looks fine. So just keep that in mind. And then after you refrigerate it for so long, maybe even a week or so, then you want to take it out and then begin the drying process for your lei or return to the land. Okay? If you are traveling with it, I recommend carry on. Don't put it in your checked bag, okay? We want to make sure it's right here, right next to us. But if you have any questions about lei or Hawaiian culture or anything that we talked about today, please let me know. I'm more than happy to help you and kind of share this ike so you can travel on with your journey with lei. And just knowing this little bit more information will really help you in kind of sharing the message and understanding it a little bit more, okay? Thank you.
I have several questions here. The first one is, if you don't have banana for lei po'o, what is a good alternative?
So with the base of your lei, I encourage natural material as much as you can. So you can also braid twine or raffia to use as a base. If you're stripping tea leaf from the stem, you can use that stem as a base of your lei. Or you can gather different vines. Sometimes people have invasive vines too that are abundant, and this is a way to cut them back and to use that material as well. So try to avoid wire and ribbon and flower tape as much as you can when making this style of traditional lei.
I'm curious, Brittany, do you have a favorite flower?
Oh, I always get asked this. So my favorite flower for kui style lei with needle and thread is pakalana. It was my tutu's favorite flower as well, and it just transports me into time and space, and so I love that flower. And then for making this style of lei po'o, to be honest, I love ginger and mini cymbidiums. If you followed our journey or have seen any of our lei, I'm obsessed. They're so beautiful.
Right. And gingers come in all sizes, from mini to very large like this, so there's a use for, a good, wonderful use for them, actually.
So can I ask a question that was relevant to the first question on answer that you you made about the alternative backing? So these are the materials that you talk about. Is it a good idea for it to be dried or used as fresh backing?
So if you're talking about the banana leaf, it has to be dried. You want to pick it from the tree as it's dried. Do not pick it wet or it will just kind of curl in itself and it won't dry properly. Just another note on that too, when you do pick banana leaf, the first thing I try to do as I pick it is rip it, and if it falls apart right there, then it's no good. So you kind of have to test it out. All of the other things, you can use it fresh. If you wanted to use the vine or the tea leaf stem, use it fresh, I would say.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great question, Hitomi. I have another one for you. What is the difference between haku and lei po'o?
That is a good question. Thank you. So haku actually means to braid or to plait or to compose as a mele or even to lead. And so I guess along the way over time, it became kind of the slang term for lei that you wear on your head, but it's actually talking about the style the lei was made in. So if you have a lei on your head, po'o means head, and if you say lei po'o, it just talks about where the lei is being worn. It's a kind of a correct term across all the boards, so it's definitely a go-to term. Once you talk about haku and wili and hili, you're actually talking about the way the lei was made. So you're not going to really know unless you flip the lei over and look at the backing. So it's very important to kind of learn these terminologies, especially for Olala Hawaii, and making sure you're correct. And that way you can know exactly what it is.
So if we have brides that are planning a destination wedding in Hawaii, and they would like to incorporate some sort of lei used in the wedding, what would you recommend to keep it as authentic as possible, the use of lei that you recommend?
So what I normally do is I really talk to them about kind of their life, to be honest. Where they come from, what's important to them, if their family had a favorite color, a favorite flower, what type of area they come from, the type of land, all of this to kind of develop a story that would fit for them. Sometimes it could be something as simple as a tea leaf lei, a strand for every year they've been together, or something like that, just to kind of pay honor to them and also showcase their love for each other. So I would always start there and really ask these deep questions. And it's, you know, your job as the lei maker to really come up with something that would suit them, not only the colors and the flowers, but the story behind it.
So it's really about meaningfulness, isn't it?
100%. Everything has meaning.
That's awesome.
Just to add to Hitomi's last question, where is your shop located and how can people get in touch with you?
Yes, so we're located on the island of Maui, up country in Makawao town, across from Komodo Bakery, if you're familiar. So we have our lei shop in the front where you can purchase fresh pre-made lei, come in, pick up your orders, place your orders. We have different mail Hawaii from different local people here in Hawaii. And then we also have our lei workshop behind that. We wanted you to feel like you're stepping into our home to make lei with us. So that's right behind there, and then it's a private area that we make lei together.
Very interesting, very interesting.
And just a comment, that's where I got my first lesson on lei making from Britney. And it was such a joyful experience. I can't tell you enough how much of an impact it had on just my view of lei making, and your lovely words and your comforting comments as I was struggling. And as you mentioned during the workshop, you know, if you put those negative thoughts, it comes through in your work. Right. And I say that to my designers, my students in my class all the time, but there I was struggling. And you fixed it, Britney. It was just wonderful. Oh, lovely workshops that you do.
Thank you. And if you're not on Maui, you can also find us online at hakumaui.com or on Instagram and Facebook at hakumaui.
So wonderful. Thank you so very much, Britney.
Great information. We have another question for her. How did you get the crown flower lei packed so dense?
Okay, yes. So if you saw that lei in the beginning with all the petals of the puakalaunu or the crown flower, it takes time. It takes a lot of time. And as you kui each petal, you know, you kind of get your lei going. And after so long of each section, you want to really push it down and compact it. So with actually any type of lei that you're stringing, you want to make sure that each flower is very close to each other. Because when you place your lei on, you don't want to see any kind of hidden string in there or anything. It's a good sign of a lei maker when all you can see are these beautiful flowers around you.
All right. How long does the banana leaf last after harvesting?
So once you pick it and you go through that process and you want to make sure that it's pa'a and it's strong and it's not going to fall apart, it will last for a very long time. I've had we will gather a bunch and have them for even a year or so. So It lasts for a long time when you pick the right kind and it's nice and strong and durable.
Kind of like natural rough, or kind of like raffia, yeah?
Yes, yeah. Once you have it, you're good to go.
Oh, cool. Okay, one more question regarding banana.
Okay.
Can you elaborate between banana leaf versus banana trunk sheath?
Okay, so we say banana leaf because it's kind of the easiest go-to, but the trunk sheets are the pieces that kind of peel off, right? That's actually what we're using.
Oh,
so
okay.
It just kind of, it makes sense for people to picture sometimes how the leaf kind of falls off and then it sheds these layers. But we're actually using the sheets, yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Miss Hitomi, would you like to make any additional comments or questions?
Oh, so I'm wondering, so you talk a lot about looking and foraging for material for the use as the berries, all of that. Is that part of the Hawaiian tradition, the foraging for some of these beautiful materials?
Yes, absolutely. It really is about the whole journey. Within Hawaiian culture, for us, kind of stepping out, it's a huaka'i, and there's a reason behind it. And there's a lot of protocol that we follow as well. It's not only limited, just Hawaiian culture. When you think about picking flowers, you want to make sure that you're not picking the keiki, you're picking something so that it will continue to grow for the next generations. But yes, it's very important to kind of research that and educate, and so that you can pick, the correct things at the correct time. But even with Maile, I mean, it goes further back than we know. All of these protocols.
We have another question from the chat, okay? It says, how do you add new pieces of raffia in your lei?
Okay, yes. So once you have about 5 inches left or so on the piece of raffia that you're using, what I actually use is a clothespin. This is the same way that my grandma taught me. So you use your clothespin to kind of clip the lace so that it won't unravel or unwind, so that you can set it down. And then you want to grab a new piece of raffia, make sure it's nice and strong, and then just go ahead and tie it together like you're tying a balloon, to be honest. You're just going to put them together and tie them around your finger to make a knot. I recommend not tying it like how you tie your shoes, because in my opinion, it comes right off for a lot of people. So make sure you just kind of do a simple overhand knot.
So I have one final question. So how is the tradition of lei making being passed down? Is it from generation to generation? Are there classes that are there like a halal type thing, as in hula, or how does it perpetuate in Hawaii?
So I would say that generation to generation, yes, and halal is also a very important tradition with lei. But what we found is that there was a time when kind of Hawaiian culture wasn't pushed as much in the past. And now those keiki are parents and they have kids of their own and they're wanting to learn how to make lei. And so that's kind of really our journey with this. So we offer our workshops at our location. And so that way you can kind of gain this ike behind it and learn really the value of lei and what it means to us in Hawaiian culture. But I would say to do your research when you seek this out. Really make sure that they're coming with it with the perpetuation of Hawaiian culture. There really is a difference in these types of workshops. So take your time and make sure. Halal is very, it's a very sacred place. It's not open to everybody. So if you can kind of just, reach out and see who's willing to kind of share this knowledge, it's worth it.
Well, mahalo nui,
Yes.
Brittany. It's been a pleasure and fun and very educational having you here with us today. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mwah. Mahalo nui. Ahui ho.
Thank you, Brittany.